Here's the scariest thing that's happened to me. My girlfriend at the time and I are on a backpacking trip through northern Vermont. 10 days of hiking and camping in the great outdoors. We were carrying everything we needed for the entire trip, food, supplies, etc., and weren't planning on leaving the trail at all. I've been doing outdoor stuff my entire life and feel very comfortable on trips like this. My girlfriend had done a decent amount of hiking and camping, but had never been on a trip this long. Honestly, I was totally psyched to have a girlfriend interested in this sort of thing. My previous girlfriends had been good for a day hike, but that's about it. Anyway, the woods and, more importantly, weather were beautiful and everything on our trip was going great. Our routine was pretty simple. We'd hike around 15 miles during the day, and then when it started to get a bit dark we'd hike off of the trail into the woods a few hundred yards or so and find a nice flat place to set up our tent for the night. It's always surprising to me how alone you can be out in the woods. The first few days we saw maybe 3 to 4 other hikers each day, usually just walking by us in the opposite direction. By the 4th day we had stopped seeing others hikers at all. This is because we had hiked farther north by this point into a more secluded area that gets a lot less foot traffic. So it's the 7th night and we haven't seen anyone else for probably 3 or 4 days at this point. I fall asleep and wake up very early, as I always do while camping. Typically I had been just lying in my sleeping bag waiting for my girlfriend to wake up, but while I was lying there I heard a noise outside of our tent of something walking around. We were pretty close to the edge of a river/lake, and I was excited thinking that I might get to see a moose. I got out of the tent as quietly as I could. It was still dark out, the sun was not up yet, but my eyes were used to the low light. I scanned around for a moose or other animal, but didn't see anything. Eventually I made something out though because of movement. There was a man standing about 100 feet from where our tent was, and as I watched he turned off and walked into the woods. You know that feeling you get on a roller coaster when everything drops out from under you? I had that exact same feeling out in the woods and had no idea what to do. A lot of possibilities were racing through my head. Was he a hunter or random camper who just stumbled on our tent? If so, why was he out so early in the morning? The sun isn't even up yet. I checked my watch, 4 a.m. If he wasn't a hunter, then were unintentionally we on his property? Was he pissed? Why didn't he say anything? I was having trouble coming up with explanations that made sense and weren't just completely terrifying. What is this guy's deal? I ended up getting my girlfriend up a lot earlier than normal and we hiked lots of extra miles that day. I had no idea if this guy was following us or what. I spent all day looking over my shoulder, expecting 100% to see him every single time coming up from behind. Of course nothing happened and we finished out the trip safely. The vision of this guy walking off into the shadowy woods is still completely etched into my mind years later.